Hello, this is Gresh from Blue16 Media, CBNation, CEO podcast, and so many other sites that I'm so busy on. And today I wanted to take you on a trip to learn about something that I think will be extremely powerful for you, especially as a leader, as a CEO, entrepreneur, and business owner. And that's really unleashing the power of DISC. For understanding your team's strengths, but also understanding their weaknesses as well too, and seeing how you can position yourself in a way that you can be an organization, a team that has extreme amount of power. So, DISC, if you don't know, is a widely used behavioral assessment that helps individuals and teams ultimately gain insight into their behaviors, motivations, and communication styles. And while I'm ultimately not an expert in DISC, I've taken the DISC. I'm super curious. I'm always learning about things, as you probably already know. So I wanted to kind of just give you some information that I have found out about DISC, but I also wanted to lean on one of the guests on our podcast so you can hear about some really cool things that he's working on and that you can learn from as well. But ultimately, by understanding the different DISC styles, you can maximize ultimately your team's collaboration, improve communication, and enhance overall team performance. So whether your team is ultimately facing challenges or looking to optimize their potential, and unlocking the power of DISC can ultimately be a absolute game changer that you've been looking for. So what I wanted to do with you is just to kind of share with you a little bit more on what DISC is, why it's important, how it can ultimately impact you as a leader, and hopefully at the end of the day, transform your team dynamics for the better. So I touched on it a little bit. This is the CEO hack we're going to focus on today. If you aren't familiar with CEO hacks, they're apps, they're books, or even habits that you have or can lean on that can make you more effective and efficient. The best thing that I think is that there is no silver bullet, but I think the accumulation of a lot of these CEO hacks will allow you to save more time, lean on the expertise of others, and really propel you so that you can spend more time in your zone of genius more than anything else. I think it alleviates a lot of stress and frustration because you're not going to be swimming in a lane that isn't your lane. You're not going to be running a race that isn't your race, as I often like to say. So we're going to delve a little bit deeper into a tool called Discovered Performance Hiring Software. And I actually had Fletcher Winbush, the CEO, on the show. So you can check out his episodes, episode number 1434 of our CEO podcast, and also episode number 780 of our CEO podcast to learn more about him, hear about all the awesome things he's been able to build, and some pretty awesome tools that I'm going to touch on a little bit. But of course, Fletcher does an incredible job of talking about the ambitions, the whys, the exciting things that he's worked on and the team's worked on, and where they're ultimately going from here. But when you delve down on the site, you can see that they do everything from assessments, from candidate evaluation, onboarding, all in one area. You can find each of these things, but that's the ultimate beauty, is because I think you get into a place where you have so many different tools and you have to lean on one tool, then you have to switch to another tool, then you have to switch to another tool. But this is all under one umbrella. And the tool that I'm most excited about, that of course I'm going to talk about a little bit today, is, and you probably guessed it, it's going to be DISC. Because I ultimately love quotes and I'm also an English major, one of the awesome quotes I found was from Aristotle, and he said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power." So this is what I'm going to do, hopefully unleash the power for you and your team so that you'll be able to learn a little bit more on DISC, why it's important, and how you can leverage it, for your business. So with that being said, it's a CEO hack, so of course we have it on our CEO hack site. You'll be able to go to our site. You can also check the link in the profile and in our show notes so that you can actually click through and see and hear a little bit more about DISC and go directly to the site. You can also check out both of Fletcher's episodes and some really awesome things that we're going to continue to kind of grow into each of these listings. So once you click through, you're going to go directly to the Discovered page. It's going to take you ultimately to the homepage. On the homepage, you'll see that you have the opportunity to book a demo. You have the opportunity to learn more. And it gives you lots of information around hiring. And he has some really cool AI tools that I was speaking with him offline about, that he's also introducing. So super cool. But one of the really big tabs you probably want to check out is going to be this tab because it shows you all the different features. I'm going to show you a little snippet of some of these and just what they may look like, but we're going to delve down deeper, obviously, into the DISC assessment, which you see on here. But everything from employee assessment software to one-way video interviews, if you actually just want to ask questions and not necessarily be there while you're actually going through and the people are uploading videos. Candidate scorecards, you can check out interview guides, a performance management tool. You can make sure that you're improving your recruitment with the marketing video. You can check out different custom skill tests, and there's just a lot here for people that are looking to hire. So I encourage you to definitely go through and learn more about some of the different areas like construction, staffing, HVAC, commercial real estate. All of these different tools are really, really powerful that Fletcher and his team have put in place. But obviously, we're here specifically for the DISC assessment. So Fletcher and his team, they create lots of content and information and really valuable content. So rather than me, like I mentioned before, trying to be the expert and show you all the things around DISC, what I wanted to do was just kind of share a little bit more of the tidbits that you can find ultimately on this page of the site. So gives you a little bit more background into what DISC is, what it looks like, and ultimately what you end up wanting to know is what style are you. And ultimately we end up being a little bit of a blend of different types of styles, but we often have something that's a little bit more dominant than the others. I myself, most of the time when I take the DISC assessment, I've been a high D. That means dominance. A lot of entrepreneurial CEO type A driven people are really high Ds. Often it could depend on, and I only know this from taking an assessment and having an expert come and speak to a leadership program I was in at the time. We often find that the time that you take this assessment can influence how you score the assessment. If you go through a day where you've made a lot of decisions, it's quite likely you're going to score higher in D because you literally made all the decisions. If you spent more time in other areas, maybe spending time with friends, you might be and feel more influential. If you're steadiness, you might be the person that someone just leaned on because they were going through a difficult time. If you are somebody that literally just got a bunch of proposals and you have to pick the decision of who you're going to go with, and you know it's a very important decision, you have to look at the numbers and analyze all the data, look at the reviews, all those things, you might find yourself a little bit more conscientious. So that just gives you a little bit more of a snapshot. I think we're a blend of different ones, but for more times than not, have found that I'm a higher D. I've also taken the test recently, and you'll see a little bit more about my results, where I was a high I as well too. So I have this belief that I'm probably somewhere between a D and an I is my two dominant ones. But again, you can take the test and you can take the test again and you can take the test again. That's one of the exciting things about it, is because I truly feel the repetition of taking the test over and over again is what helps you to steer towards what your result is. You start to see those consistent answers. But I mentioned all the benefits, communication, collaboration, employee engagement are all going to be really great things that you're going to be able to do. But one of the things that is bolded here is the inclusive work environments. I think in this day and age, and it's also kind of mentioned in this book that I always mention called It's the Manager, you want to make sure as a leader you're creating a really great team environment. And one of the best ways to do that is not necessarily by saying this is the way it's going to be and being the one in front and saying you have to do it this way, is more in terms of being like a coach and understanding and coming to your team where they are, so you can make sure that you are helping out and implementing the activities that are going to align with the strengths of your team so that you can create that winning environment. So with that being said, Fletcher and his team go through really different ways in order to, conduct the DISC analysis, how to share the results, how you can adapt as a leader within an organization to make sure that you are paying attention to these styles. I really love, the ability to learn about this because it gives you a little bit more awareness in terms of like how to communicate, but also how to lead certain people on the team. And I'll show you a little video as well too. You'll be able to find that in show notes a little bit later, where you will be able to kind of see some really cool AI tools that actually tell you what your disc is based off your LinkedIn profile. And I think it's pretty awesome because if you have the power to be able to understand that, and especially if it coincides with everything you find here, it'll probably give you a really good idea of like what type of person you have on your team, even separate from taking this disc assessment. But I think, again, making the time to take the disc assessment is really where you want to be. So with that being said, once you sign up and sign in, you're going to see all the different assessments that you have that are going to be available to you. And it's numerous. There's so many that you can ultimately check out. Like I mentioned, you have positivity, integrity, work styles, the disc that I touched on. You have sales ability. You can go into understanding basic sales and see where the person is, supervisor test, hard skill, writing, verbal reasoning, Excel, Spanish test, to make sure that people understand, certain aspects in different languages. So all of these things are going to be ultimately available to you that you can check out with the credit. But what I really wanted to do was, of course, to show you the disc assessment. So as you kind of go a little bit and delve a little bit deeper into the disc, you'll be able to understand that there's some really phenomenal tools that are available to you that are here. And it's only as powerful as you are able to leverage it more than anything else. And when you're able to leverage it, you're able to understand it, you're able to execute on that, it's going to just set you up in a phenomenal place so that you can ultimately be successful as an organization, but also as a person within your organization. Because when you're able to do that, then you're ultimately able to create a really phenomenal workplace and environment for people. So with that being said, I'm going to show you a little bit more on what the test looks like so you can get an idea on what this could look like for you or the people within your organization. So this is my ultimate disc assessment. As you see, exactly tells you the date that I took it. But again, it gave me a high I, in every other time that I've taken it, it's been a high D. So, but I've always felt like I was potentially a high D and a high I anyways. But so getting this actually connects a lot with what I was thinking, and especially being in the marketing, salesperson, you see public relations, CSR, all these teacher, all these, and my mom would actually love hearing that. But at the end of the day, this gives you a little bit more of an idea of like where you are on the spectrum. As you see, like I'm still high D. I'm just usually super high D. So I'm a little bit lower as far as D. Conscientiousness is a little bit lower. Steadiness is a little bit higher. So it gives you a little bit of a matrix so you can get an idea of exactly, who you are and what you connect with. You can just see that, you are likely to feel more comfortable spending time more social, spontaneous, rather than organized details of your environment. Gives you an idea of just like what and where you are. It's funny enough, I also took this test when I was in college. And when I took this test when I was in college, I was actually borderline, but I was on the spectrum of introversion. So as I think gotten more confident and been more who I was and learned more about who I am, I've gone more and more towards the extroversion standpoint. Also being relationship focused as well too, which is interesting because usually I could be a high D, so usually those people are more results focused. But again, you'll get all of this information around what really helps define who you are, and it breaks it down and it tell you a little bit more about who you are and what exactly you do. But what I really love is that it gives you the strategies for personal growth. It gives you an idea of what might be stressors for you. Also things that motivate you as well too. And the exciting thing is you'll see as I delve down a little bit deeper is as you start to have better awareness around other people, you'll start to see how you may interact with others. If people have certain types of personality tests or they have a blend of these, you'll be able to understand how best you can interact and kind of work with them to make sure that you're successful overall. So really cool tool overall. Like I mentioned, there's loads and loads of information and content around DISC and what it means and how it can help you to leverage your styles and to have a successful team. But one of the absolute, awesome things that you can do is you can go through this, you can learn more about yourself, but you can also learn how you can lean on this to improve the overall workplace and also understand exactly how people look and they are. So I think it's really awesome to kind of get a blend of what it looks like, who people are. I think it's even exciting to try to guess what people are as well too, and then you can ultimately kind of go from there and create really great environments and team structures and systems so that hopefully you can start to facilitate those really phenomenal relationships within your organization. So again, definitely check out the links in this video so you can hear a little bit more on some of the awesome things that you can do. But again, that power is extremely effective when you're able to wield it in a way that can help you and your team be ultimately better. So this is Gresh signing out. Hope you enjoy this CEO hack and look forward to helping you out and seeing you more soon.